This is your packet that you'll be using pretty much throughout the semester. So if there comes a time where, I'm busy or you're, like I said, you're moving ahead or you're gone for a couple days, you can go back and refer to this, and it's pretty much laid out through, step by step what you'll need to do. If you look at the first page, these QR codes, the homework like on it said Edmodo, this is what you'll be doing, what you'll need to do. So this QR code right here, step number 1, that's what you'll need to do for homework, okay? So you'll need to watch this video, and then we'll go through here. And if there's ever downtime, you can continue watching on, if you want to place an X through it or an X beside it. So if you place it through it, it probably won't read it. But for today, what you'll have to do, like I said, is watch that first video. Then these are all of them. There's a couple missing. I didn't have time to finish it completely, but that won't be towards the end of the semester. If you look towards this leg subassembly, each part ends up showing you the subassembly that you're going to be doing. So there's a couple subassemblies that'll actually make up your final wood chest, okay? So on here, it'll end up giving you, what parts you need, the quantity, and then everything, what it's made out of, okay? So all these are solid pine, and then for the triangle supports, which is number 3, those are just scrap solid pine. So it goes through, it first tells you what the grading rubric is. Let me turn this way. So the grading rubric, so it'll say, this is what you're going to be grading on, cutting it to final length, cutting it to final, or rip to final width, so on and so forth. You have your scale up here. So 5 points, is basically what the drawing says or what the plans call for. So if it calls for 3/4 of an inch and it's right on 3/4 of an inch, all right, then you got a 5. If it's plus or minus a 1/16, that's what that means. So if it's supposed to be 3/4 and it's plus, it's a 1/16 inch over, so it actually would be 13/16 or 11/16 if it was under. Okay, then it's a 4, and it goes through like that, all the way up until a 1/4 inch. So if you're a 1/4 inch off, all right, then you get a 0 on that part. Okay, so what I'll have you do is kind of as you're going through. So there's always something that you can be doing in this class. So whether it's, you don't have to wait to the very end to grade it. You'll end up grading it. Your final length, final width. Say you could probably grade these 3. Once you got to that point, and then come back and get the pattern and everything drawn like that. Okay, then I'm asking you for have someone else grade that as well. The reason being for that is so that you kind of take some pride in your work, and so you guys can kind of show up, this was mine, and kind of compare yourself to others. Did I do it right? What does theirs look like? Do I feel that theirs is fine? And then instructor grading, so that's mine, and then I'll put a final grade here. When you guys are done with that step, I'll end up giving you guys a sheet like when all these rubrics are due. Like this for your legs here, your long and your shorts, they probably won't be due probably for another 2.5 weeks or something like that. Okay, but again, it'll give you kind of a deadline as when that's due. Here's your grading for skyward. Then what you'll end up doing is you'll end up taking this, the sheet out or ripping it out with your name on it, turn it into me, so that way I know when you're done. I can go ahead and I can put that in skyward. Okay. There's these material processing sheets. What basically ends up happening, it takes the video form here and puts it in step-by-steps. Okay. So this is all this really is for your use. I might reference it once in a while, but it's, like here, this one tells you how to make the legs front and back. First you cross cut it to rough length, so on and so forth. These grading, like right here it says notes, see me. That's if for your grading. If there's downtime, or if you see I'm not busy and you're like, hey, can you check this? Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll grade it. But before I'll grade it, I'll make sure that you grade it yourself and had someone else grade it. Okay. So that's what those are right there. And then it just moves on. So this is the difference between the front, you have your sides, and then it goes on. Here's the actual piece, okay? So this is the actual piece right here. it gives you the overall length and width. Okay, so just to let you guys know that when you start, what you start with, it affects kind of everything further on. Okay, so like if you notice those boxes up front, that their lengths of their legs, the sides are then based upon that. Okay, so if your legs are if you end up cutting your legs shorter, all right, well then your sides are obviously going to be shorter in order to get to fit tightly. Okay, so really the only measurements that you have, or that kind of I'm grading on, are based on these first couple of parts. The rest is all, you know, is it a tight fit, is it square, everything like that. Okay. There's a couple other ones here. Then you have your, you know, like your triangle supports, your leg assembly, and then it goes on to the next sub-assembly. Okay. So again, this is trying to get you guys so that you can work at your own pace. If you have questions, you know, ask someone else who's either, you know, who's already done it. Ask myself, or just, you know, like I said, just come in here and snap some of these pictures or these QR codes so you can start watching the next video. What we'll do with these videos, like I said, is that they're there so that you guys actually watch them, because what will end up happening tomorrow is we'll end up, you know, here are the main points from the video. I'm not going to go through it. I'll just kind of reiterate what was the main points, and then kind of give you a little bit more information, a little bit more detailed, some of the things to watch out for, and then it's just going to go right to work. So you'll find out that if you don't watch them, you're kind of at a disadvantage, because the class is going to be moved at a pace where it's figuring that you are watching them. Okay, so the longest one I think is like 10 minutes. I mean, you guys spend enough time, I'm sure, on YouTube or in study hall or anything like that. I'll try and put this on, or I'll put at least this sheet on Edmodo so that you guys know you can take the QR codes in any way. Like I said, you can just take your phone up to the computer screen, snap it, and then go from there. Okay, any questions on that? No? All right. Next thing that I want to go through is what we'll do is we'll be using finishing out our bill of materials. Okay, so if you guys on your sheets turn to your legs, let's see, where is it? Okay. So we have here on our bill of materials. Remember, we had all our pieces, you know, what they're made out of, and everything like that. As far as I want you guys to go is just to the column that says the finished thickness, width, and length. Okay, so by finish I mean once you're all done. We'll talk more later about, you know, why we have rough dimensions and everything like that. I think that's Wednesday. But for right now, what you'll end up doing is, if we look at this one here, okay, so our legs, front and back. All right, so we found our legs front and back here on our bill of materials. First, it deals with thickness, okay? So if you want to make a note too, thickness on our sheet will be the same as depth. So it's asking, all right, what's the finished thickness for our depth? So if we were to look at our drawing here, what is going to be our finished thickness? 0.75. And what view did you find that in? The right side view, right? Because remember, if you're looking at like a person, the only way that you can tell how far back I go is to either look at the top view or the right side views. Okay, so we look at our top view, and these dimension lines end up coming here. All right, so it's 0.75. So if you can place in 0.75 or 3/4 if you're more used to dealing with fractions, that's fine. Okay, so it's 0.75. Then you have your width. Okay, now it's kind of tricky. I guess I probably should have switched those sheets up. But width, when you're dealing with lumber, okay, if we have here, our grain is going this direction, right, from left to right. Our width is going to be from here to here, so from top to bottom. So this is our board width. Then the overall length is going to be from left to right. So width is from top to bottom. Width is from length is from left to right. Okay. So if I have my length, remember I could either find it in my in my top view or my front view. So what's my overall length? 24 and a half, right? And I found that from this part right there. So I have from this edge to here, this edge. So the overall length, oops, sorry, I missed a column, is 24.5, right? Then I have my width, which I was first talking about. Width would be what? 2.625. So again, we have our, our left to right, we have our depth, and then we have our width, which is top from bottom. Okay, so that's 2.625. Okay, so what I'm going to have you guys do is you just go through and you're going to fill out these columns. So thickness, width, and length for all this information right here. Okay, so that's what we'll spend the last 10 minutes. I'm not expecting you guys to get it done. If you need to work with a partner or someone else, that's fine. Get up and move around. Do you guys want to go to the next one, or are you guys fine? Yeah. You guys are fine working by yourself, or? Okay. All right. I'll let